2, I think you saw it a little bit more. But here's the big deal about why chapter 6 is more real life. The triangles aren't always right. Oh, there's a life lesson in that. Anyway, the triangles aren't always right. And these ones start off with the first vocab of chapter 6, section 1, oblique. Sometimes there's nothing right. And what I mean by right is 90 degrees. I'm seeing all throughout all the trigonometry before chapter 6. Right triangle, right triangle, right triangle, right triangle, SOHCAHTOA, CHOSHCAHTOA, right? Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared is c squared. Do any of those work perfectly right now if there's no right angle? So the world just kind of got turned upside down, mathematically speaking. Well, that's one way. You guys see the picture down below, right? Both of those are oblique triangles. One of them is acute because all 3 angles are acute. One of them is obtuse because how many angles are obtuse? Why only one? Angles in a triangle add up to 180. An obtuse angle is one that's more than 90. Is it possible to have more than 90 and 180? No. So, one an obtuse triangle because there's one obtuse angle. The other 2 are obviously acute. You can make obtuse triangles into right triangles. Not literally, but you can show a right angle and be like, hey, look, he's right there. It's called the altitude or the height. You can also show the altitude or the height way out here, but here's what's awkward. Let's just start here. What if I was to ask you for the area of this triangle? Just area. Geometry. Area of a triangle equals height. I need height. 1/2 base times height. Would we have the base? Sure. Do we have the height? No. So even just the area formula gets hard. Whether you're doing it with an acute or with an obtuse, we need the height even just for area, let alone SOHCAHTOA, CHOSHCAHTOA, a squared plus b squared is c squared. That doesn't, So it's going to be harder if we're trying to solve the triangle. Hey, in geometry and algebra, if they ask you to solve the triangle, you're being given some pieces of information, and what are they asking for? All the rest, the sides, the angles, whatever's missing. Now, we do have that cool trick that 3 angles in a triangle add up to be. That's cool. That's helpful. But that's not enough. We used to have a squared plus b squared is c squared, but now we don't, unless we find the height. So we have a choice. One choice is to play with geometry and, given some pieces of information, try to find the height. Try to find that. It's not even in the... Or just work with new formulas. Let's learn how to work with the new formulas. Sound good? Because geometrically, I'm sure in geometry, maybe, in Algebra 2 definitely, you probably at some point had to go looking for the height or the altitude in order to find the area. We're just going to learn new formulas and be like, sweet, let's go. Okay. And I'll give you a heads up just because you're normal pre-cal now. For the test in Chapter 6, you might have been like, uh-oh, ding, ding, ding. I just heard her say, learn new formulas. And why does that set off like a warning bell? We just had like a formula portion to a test, and it was really long, and it took a lot of studying for some of you, and some of you still didn't do well. Just like you didn't feel well when you took it, right? In a way that it didn't, never mind. I'm just digging a hole. Okay, this chapter, there are going to be a lot of formulas. But the only ones you have to have memorized for the test are 6.1 and 6.2. That's it. Law of sines, law of cosines, and 2 area formulas. Okay? 6.3, 6.4, 6.5. Tons of formulas. But you get to make a formula card that not only can include formulas, but also vocab and diagrams and examples. And actually, it probably will be like a half sheet instead of a formula card, so you have space. I'm not making it, though. You're making it. But that's on 6.3, 6.4. I didn't know what your question was, Matthew, but I figured I'd clarify. You guys will make it, because what are you going to do as you make it?
Learn.
Study. Maybe learn. Hopefully you learn before and you're just remembering. But some people learn when they study, and that's a thing. Okay. So 6.1, 6.2, I want you guys to highlight the formulas in a way that you're like, oh, I have to actually memorize 6.1, 6.2 formulas. But as soon as we get to 6.3, 6.4, 6.5, still highlight, but with the intention of I get to make myself a study sheet for this test. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. So I just wanted to give you hope now. There are going to be formulas, but only a limited amount you have to study. So, law of sines. Actually, it's pretty easy. It's all about ratios, all about fractions. Whenever you see lowercase letters with shapes, what do you guys think? Sides are lowercase and uppercase are angles. Law of sines has what trig function? Hey, it's a thing. So it can be A over sine of A, B over sine of B, C over sine of C with sides and angles. Or, ready, we can actually be really snazzy and do 1 over everything. We can flip it on the formula itself and say sine of A over A, sine of B over B, and sine of C over C. I'm not even sure if the book actually shows this, but there's a really important, well, really helpful application of the formulas when they're flipped. And if you want to write yourself a note, some of you it might be easier to write it now instead of learning it from examples. You're going to want to use these first formulas if you're missing or solving for a side. If you're missing or solving for a side, you're going to want sides on top. And if you're missing or solving for an angle, you're going to want angles on top. So that should say to be grammatically correct. Okay, if I'm missing a side or an angle, you use different formulas. Basically, we just want the unknown guy on top. If it's a side, put sides on top. If it's an angle, put the signs of angles on top. And then down here, I know it's probably not going to be very helpful right this second, but long story short, law of sines is going to be mostly helpful if you have at least 2 angles. So AAS or ASA, and just a few of you might remember from geometry, that last one wasn't a good one. SSA, read it the other way. You couldn't say that's that. Okay, anyway, not what I meant. But anyway, it's used in the Bible, it's all right. But that was the one, SSA or ASS, however you want to say it. I don't care. It doesn't prove congruence. In geometry, you could never use it in a 2-column proof because it never proved anything. In this section, probably tomorrow, not today, you're going to see why it couldn't prove congruence, why it was a tricky case. We're going to see stuff like this, and you're going to see it in your homework. You're going to see SSA. But the reason you couldn't use it in geometry is because just because you have SSA doesn't always point you to one and only one triangle. All the rest of the pieces of information say, hey, one triangle, one set of answers, done. This guy says, there's some ambiguity. Anyway, we are still gonna have to deal with him. So just because SSA wasn't good in geometry or ASS, you're still gonna have to deal with him. But hopefully in your head you're like, ooh, he's the trouble one. Okay, but these first ones aren't trouble. These first ones are very straightforward. What if you're given angle, angle, side? Or side, angle, angle. Either way, you're given 2 angles and then the following side. And whenever these little acronyms, the AAS or the ASA or the SSS or the AAA, ooh, that one's bad too. Oh, not for that reason. Anyway, it's just us reading around as far as what we've been given. You could be given it in a picture, you could be given it in words. You'll see a little bit of both today. But we need to solve the triangle, aka find everything that's missing. Solve the triangle, find everything that's missing. So let's develop a strategy. We're missing 1 angle and 2 sides. What do you guys think we're going to go looking for first? Angle. Sure, sounds great because it's easy. Doesn't mean you have to, but you can. Angle A is easy because if we have 2 angles, all we have to do to find angle A is, yeah, we can just do 180 minus 105 minus 45. You guys check my mental math or do mental math. Is it 30? Good. So that can lead us to, we already have one. Haha. Now life gets harder. What are the 2 sides that we're missing? Did you guys pay attention to the diagram? What letters are we missing? Yeah, because the side opposite the angle or the side that's held in by the angle has the lowercase of that letter. So we're missing side C, technically, and we're missing side A. So if we're missing sides, which version of the law of sines are we going to use? Good. A over sine A, the first ones. So here's the dealio. We can't solve for both at once. We have to just kind of focus in and solve for one and then solve for the other. So to solve, I'm going to go ahead and A is what I want. over, what do I need? Sine of, hey, we needed angle A or else we couldn't have set that up, right? So A over sine of A, we needed angle A to plug into that little ratio, equals, let's not use C because I don't know all of him, but who do I know everything about? Yeah, I know his angle and his side, so I can do 5, side B, over sine of 45. Even though law of sines has 3 formulas, just pick 2 at a time. Do you guys see why I told you to put the side on top? Because now, mathematically speaking, all we have to do is zoop, and then plug it in your calculator. Multiply by sine of 30. You should have already made sure that you're in degree mode. I'm going to pop over and grab, ooh, my missing calculator. That's helpful. Don't worry, I got it. And you guys double check me, but in my calculator, I'm literally doing 5 divided by sine of 45, ending my little baby parentheses so I don't make mistakes, times sine of 30. Or you could have done 5 times sine of 30 divided by sine of 45. What do you guys got? Go one more. There you go, round it up. You guys agree? Uh-oh, double check. Now's the time. Okay, good. Calculators can do funny things, so now's the time that we figure out before you get to homework and you're home and you're alone, and you're like, ah! Make sure it's plugging in, make sure you're getting it right. You're in degree mode. 5 times sine of 30 over sine of 45, ending your parentheses for each sine, or 5 divided by sine of 45 times sine of 30. For those of you guys that are like, wait, I think I got this, go do C. Go do C. I'm going to ask for answers in just 1 second, but first of all, is your setup okay? Bless you. Is your setup okay? C over sine of C is C over sine of 105 equals, does anybody know why I used B again instead of using A? Now we know A, I could have. Why'd I use B instead? It looks cleaner, and it doesn't have a decimal. What did we just do? What did Jason just do when he rounded? He actually introduced just a little bit, even though it was according to the directions. And the best answer for A. That again, we introduce a little bit of error. Does that make sense? That's perfect. The 5 is perfect. The 3.54 is a little bit off, technically. So as much as is possible, and you can't always do it this way, but as much as is possible, stick with the nice, even, perfect, non-rounded answers. Does that make sense? Okay. But when you do plug in, oh, I didn't plug in. What did you guys end up getting? 2.59. You guys back them up? Uh-oh. I think I got 6.832. Double check. 5 times sine of 105 over sine of 45. You see it? It's so easy to plug these in wrong, so just be careful, guys. Has anybody's calculator not been able to get at least one of the right answers? I mean, not the angle one, that was just subtraction, but any of the ones using sine? Okay, and for those of you guys that don't have your calculator, don't worry, bring it tomorrow. We just want to make sure that all calculators are on the right page and doing what they're supposed to do, and that we're plugging it in correctly. Jason, we're good? Okay, so what changes if we have angle, side, angle? Oh, and no picture. Visual people, it's up to you. If you like the picture, draw a triangle. Remember in homework how you give me the givens? You don't have to necessarily write it the same way they do. If you like the pictures, you could take the givens and put it in a picture. But if I were you, I would label everything first. That way you don't put things in the wrong spaces. Does that make sense? Just make an ABC triangle or whatever letters they give you. I'll give you a second to think about the information. Either just here written out or in the picture. And I want you to try to set up what you think would be our beginning, okay, after finding angle C. Most of us are like, yay, subtract from 180, and you're totally right. $90, $100, I think we got 80 degrees. But after you find the 80 degrees, processing the information either in a picture or just written out, how would you start setting up or using law of sines? I think so. Should be pretty close anyway, right? That should have been at least pretty close to your picture. You might have like put the letters in different spots, and so maybe it's like shifted a little bit, but you should see this is angle, side, angle as far as what you've been given. Who'd you guys go for first, A or B? A. Okay. Did you put the side on top again? Sweet, because that's what's missing, right? Who are you using for your comparison ratio? Good, because C is the guy whose side I know. And you guys got 80, right? Okay. Is it cool if I stop writing the times sign of 35 on both sides? Like, do we know we're just popping that over? Cool. And that's how you guys are going to be saving some time on work, etc. Because once you put it into the law of sines, there shouldn't be that much work to do. What did you guys get for your first letter A? Got it. Nice. It sounds like our calculators are all doing what they're supposed to. But when you go to solve for, B, right? He's the other guy we're missing. Good. We're using 65 because that's his corresponding angle. Who am I going to use on the other side, though? C again. Good, Matthew. I got 9.20. What'd you guys get? You're not using this one, are you, Jason? No. Let me see. Oh. Check out your angles. First one is 65. I think you just typed it in wrong.
First one?
Mm-hmm. I think you typed 85. You see it?
Yeah, I got you.
Then the other one's 80. There you go. B is equal to. Anybody else's? Yeah, it's one of those, like, it gets so easy that we just make little mistakes so much quicker. I know, it's because class was shorter. But law of sines, guys, this is the basic application. When does it get tricky? We've only been solving for sides. When we solve for an angle is when it gets worse. And that'll be tomorrow. Don't worry. Homework due on Wednesday, but you guys can definitely start tonight. I'll see you guys later. If you get to one you're solving for an angle, I would skip it and move on, and then we'll figure out how to do it tomorrow. Bye, guys. Bring your calculators. Most of you have them. Yeah.
Did we turn in the quiz corrections on the test day?
No, I didn't even think about it today. Thanks, Priscilla. I'll write it on the board. We'll do it tomorrow.